In this video, we'll share 10 incredible money secrets that will revolutionize the way you think about money. This money secret will throw your financial game on its head. First, you may generate your own luck. Creating your own luck is something I've grown to believe in over time. When it comes to financial success in life, what people call luck is typically the result of a lot of actions. The main point here is that the more activities you perform, the more likely you are to strike it fortunate. People who take action are more likely to be lucky since they are effectively creating their own luck. This lesson inspired me to try new things and be alright with the majority of them failing. I realized it's normal to be wrong the majority of the time and yet succeed. For example, Thomas Edison's discovery of the electric light bulb required thousands of trials. This means he had a lot of misses, but those hits propelled him to great success. So the message is that it's okay for many things to go wrong. Sometimes all it takes is one wonderful idea, one book, one sentence, one person, or one video to completely transform your life. People on the outside may believe you simply got fortunate, but what they don't realize is that you probably reached out to over 50 people or tried many various things before finding that one success. Second, never live below your means. This advice comes from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Second Chance. Kiyosaki criticizes typical financial planning advice that emphasizes saving money by forsaking things you enjoy. Why not figure out how to produce more money so you can buy the things you want, he suggests. He believes that decreasing costs might be demotivating. Nobody wakes up excited in the morning and says, I'm going to cut costs here and there so that I can have a few extra dollars. Always focus on earning more, and instead of saying, I can't afford it, start saying, how I can afford it. First, I realize there is a limit to how much you can decrease your spending. You can't keep cutting indefinitely. Second, I realize that my time and energy are my most significant assets. I can use my energy to save a little money, or I may use it to make a lot more money. Making more money begins with resolving minor personal issues such as obtaining financial knowledge or increasing self-confidence. As you solve these, you progress to larger, more challenging issues. When you overcome a difficulty, you level up, and new difficulties appear. The more money problems you solve, the more knowledgeable you become and the more money you make. On the other hand, ignoring money difficulties and focusing solely on decreasing expenses would almost certainly result in less money over time. 3. Know the money rules. Many people are hesitant to comprehend the rules of money before attempting to win because they believe money is complicated. If you're feeling this way, don't blame yourself. There's a reason for your perplexity. There's a lot of money going on Wall Street and in the financial sector. They've purposefully made it appear convoluted and perplexing. Consider this: who benefits the most when you believe you have little control over your financial future? Stockbrokers, financial counselors, and banks are examples. Banks will gladly accept your money and pay you a pittance in interest while investing it in secure investments such as government bonds, which pay them a better rate of return. They make greater money with your money while assuming no risk. Doesn't that seem unjust? But it's not. They're simply following the rules, as you can if you understand them better. Here's the main point. Knowing money isn't genuinely complex. People who profit from your ignorance make it appear that way. Allow that to soak in for a moment, feel frustrated if you want, but then resolve to change the game by committing to knowing how money actually works so that you, too, can play the game to your benefit. 4. Dream big. Setting ambitious goals that excite and push you beyond your comfort zone is what thinking big entails. Consider Elon Musk, who wants to dwell on Mars with SpaceX, or Steve Jobs, whose inventions altered the globe. These people demonstrate the power of having high aspirations. Small thinkers see only what is immediately in front of them, whereas large thinkers envision possibilities that reach far beyond the present instant. Consider the appearance of an old house. A little thinker could value it at $20,000, but a big thinker sees untapped potential, picturing a comprehensive refurbishment, interior renovations, and a resale value of $80,000. The vast majority of individuals are hesitant to embrace expansive thinking, which limits their objectives. However, dreaming large is only the beginning. It's similar to programming your GPS. Assume you make $3,000 each month and have a great aim of making $20,000. This objective will alter your behavior. You'll read various books, view various videos, and possibly say no to some things. Thinking large leads to doing big things, and doing big things leads to huge outcomes. Some individuals believe the opposite is true: give me $20,000 a month, and I'll act like someone who makes that much. However, this is not the case. You must first become the person who earns $20,000 each month. Only then will you begin to see significant improvements. And you can't achieve it unless you allow yourself to dream large. Many of us believe that our occupations help us live our lives, but in actuality, they become our entire existence. We work and think about work for more than 35 to 40 years. And we work in order to make money. When you work for someone who is exploiting you to attain their aims, it might be difficult to think big. To think big, you may need to get out of such environments. What's the worst that might happen? This great lesson comes from a personal development book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, by Dale Carnegie. The lesson is simple but effective. When facing financial difficulties, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? In my own investing and business experiences, this technique has shown to be really useful. Consider how many of our concerns are financial in nature. What happens if a company idea fails? What if an investment fails completely? What if it becomes impossible to return borrowed funds? These kinds of thinking can be extremely stressful. The idea is to tackle these fears by asking yourself, what's the worst that may happen? Asking this question helps you calm down. The dreadful things we imagine in our brains aren't as bad as we think. They are, in fact, usually manageable. Even if the worst does occur, you can typically deal with it. What makes this so effective? Worrying interferes with our ability to concentrate. Our thoughts become disorganized, bouncing from one issue to the next. Acceptance, on the other hand, functions as a calming factor, allowing us to concentrate on solving the problem at hand. This basic yet deep method enables us to face obstacles with clarity of mind and steadfast resolve. Sixth, money is only a game. Money is a game that we must all play, whether we like it or not. My family never talked much about money when I was growing up. It wasn't a forbidden topic, but it didn't come up in our normal chats. I've noticed that in our society, we respect people with a lot of money while also criticizing the method of making money. Money is thought to be the source of all evil, and those who care about money are viewed as selfish and greedy. Because of these opposing viewpoints, many of us find it difficult to discuss money freely. However, here's an intriguing discovery. Individuals who are successful at producing money regard it as neither good nor bad. They know that money is really a game. In truth, we are all forced to play this game because we need money to survive. The only option we have is how we will play. People who grew up like me occasionally select a losing tactic. They may disregard the value of money or claim that the game is rigged as an excuse not to participate. I'm not saying we all start out with the same opportunities. Life isn't always fair. Some are given bad cards from the start, while others appear to enjoy lucky breaks. What we can control is how skillfully we play the cards that are dealt to us. Your success in the money game is determined by how well you comprehend the rules and how well you implement your strategy. It is not about having an equal starting position, it is about making the most of what you have and playing effectively. That is the secret to navigating the money game. The sunk cost fallacy is number 7. Consider John, who has spent the last 5 years working in a well-paying but highly stressful and unhappy job. He's also realized that the company's beliefs and culture do not correspond with his personal ideals and aspirations, but he keeps working. I can't leave now, he could think. I've put in far too much time and effort on this task. Now consider circumstances in your life where you're doing something you don't want to do. Perhaps you're pursuing a career that your parents desired for you, such as becoming a doctor, engineer, or lawyer. You're halfway through and realize it's not what you're looking for, but you keep going. Maybe you're stuck in a job you despise, like John, or you're in a relationship you know won't work out, but you keep going nonetheless. The sunk cost fallacy is a mental deception. It occurs when we place too much emphasis on what we have already invested, whether in time, effort, or money, and neglect what we may lose in the future. We get caught in the past instead of looking forward. This occurs not only in our careers or jobs, but in all facets of our life. Most individuals would do exactly what John did in this case. They disregard the reality that shifting jobs is the correct thing to do. This is due to a phenomenon known as the sunk cost fallacy. By falling to the sunk cost fallacy, John may jeopardize his long-term job happiness and well-being. Would I continue this profession, business, or relationship knowing what I know now? You should ask yourself. If the answer is no, it's time to pivot. It's difficult, but we should attempt to ignore it and focus on the future. It may be painful to abandon the labor and time you've invested, but it's always worthwhile in the long term. Get rich young is number 8. When I first started reading books about money management and investing, I kept coming across the same advice. If you save a small amount of money and invest it for a long time, say 40 years, you can end up with more than $1 million. This suggestion is sound, but it gave me mixed feelings. On the one hand, the prospect of having $1 million someday piqued my interest. On the other hand, I considered the reality that I'd be ancient by then. Did I truly want to be affluent when I'm old and may want assistance getting around or enjoying life? I desired nice things, such as a fine car, but did not want to be too old to enjoy them. Then I came across The Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco, which dramatically transformed my perspective. This book is all about how to get wealthy and retire early by doing things like starting a great business, inventing something, or generating something that can bring in a lot of money while you're still young. When we hear, "get rich quick," we frequently think of a fraud, but the author isn't talking about being wealthy overnight. For example, if you start a business, you may put in 5 or 10 years of hard labor, but once it takes off, you may never have to work again in your life. That's what the author means by become rich quick, because when compared to 40 years of investing, 10 years is very short. Achieving financial success at a young age opens up a world of possibilities, options, and the chance to live life on one's own terms. So, if you want to retire early and never work again, you should absolutely read this book. However, if you like your career and the idea of long-term investing, remain with it. Keep in mind that compound interest works its magic over time. Warren Buffett, a well-known investor, amassed the majority of his wealth after the age of 50. His expertise is in investment, but his secret is time. Without a doubt, here is the revised version of the information, complete with appropriate punctuation marks and organized into sentences and paragraphs without changing the substance. 9. Spending, saving, and investing. It's obvious that there are only 3 things you can do with money: spend it, save it, or invest it. Most people lose money because they either spend too much, save too little, or invest in the wrong things. Spending too much money and making poor investments are apparent money blunders, but saving too much money can also be problematic. Here's why saving too much might be a problem. Items tend to get more expensive over time, which means your money's purchasing power drops. As a result, the dollar you have now will be worth less in 10 years. Saving money is similar to spending it because it loses some of its value due to inflation. In actuality, you have 2 options for your money: spend it or invest it. Looking at money in this way clarifies which approach is better for winning the money game. You can't get rich solely by spending money. There are numerous ways for accumulating wealth, but there is no one-size-fits-all solution. For example, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk all grew wealthy in their own unique ways. Take it with a grain of salt if someone tells you that their technique is the only way to get rich. Because your life skills, resources, and goals are different, what worked for them may not work for you. So keep in mind that there is no single way to financial success, and some paths will be more difficult for some people than others. Don't compare yourself to others and punish yourself if their techniques don't work for you. Instead, while you attempt to develop your money, focus on determining what works best for your own situation and goals. 10. Purchase assets. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was one of the first money books I read. The most significant thing I learned was the distinction between an asset and a liability. Rich Dad defined assets as anything that allows you to put money in your pocket. Investments, rental properties, stocks, bonds, and even intellectual property or a successful business are examples. In general, assets are items that provide income or increase in value over time. Liabilities, on the other hand, are expenses or products that take money out of your wallet. This includes mortgages, vehicle loans, credit card debt, and other recurring financial responsibilities. Rich Dad claimed that becoming wealthy is simple: simply acquire more possessions. Individuals should prioritize financial education and discipline in order to purchase more assets intelligently. This lesson is incredibly basic, however it is difficult to apply in practice. After reading the book, I became more aware of every purchase I made and concentrated on acquiring additional assets, which considerably improved my financial status. Thank you for your time. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and switch on notifications for additional content.